There are moments in the life of an individual when something profound and fundamental shifts before the change ever becomes visible to the naked eye. I have taught for years that financial transformation never arrives like a sudden, unannounced lightning strike out of a clear blue sky. Rather, it is heralded first in the invisible realm, long before a single coin touches your hands or a single figure changes in your bank ledger. There are subtle, almost imperceptible signs indicating that the divine mind is already rearranging the threads of your supply. The vast majority of humanity completely ignores these signs because they have been trained from childhood to look only at the material world, to believe only in what they can touch, count, and measure. They are hypnotized by the world of effects. But God, the infinite intelligence, works first in consciousness. The divine mind opens inner doors, rearranges habitual thoughts, and shifts spiritual atmospheres long before manifesting those changes as external open doors in the physical world. Recognizing these preliminary signals is the very first step toward experiencing genuine, lasting spiritual prosperity. Over decades of working with men and women who were navigating the deep, dark valleys of financial scarcity, I have identified 3 specific, unmistakable indicators. When these 3 signs appear, they announce that the turning point has been reached and your financial demonstration is already in motion, even if your human intellect cannot yet see how the problem will be solved. This is not mere superstition, nor is it wishful thinking. It is a precise, verifiable spiritual law of cause and effect that has worked for thousands of people who learned to recognize the exact moment when God began moving their provision toward them. Let us consider a student of truth named Anselmo, an accountant who had lived for years under a heavy, suffocating cloud of financial dread. Every month of his life was a silent, grueling war between a rigidly limited income and debts that seemed to multiply in the dark. His mind was caught in a continuous, exhausting loop, repeating a constant chant of lack. There is not enough. There is never enough. One evening, after reviewing his ledgers for the 100th time, Anselmo felt something shift deep within his being. It was not a magical, overnight solution. It was not a sudden, brilliant business idea. It was simply an inexplicable, overarching sense of calm in the very midst of his chaotic circumstances. For the first time in years, the knot of panic in his stomach dissolved, replaced by a strange, quiet certainty that the tide was finally turning in his favor. This unexpected calm is precisely the first sign that God is moving on your behalf. When anxiety dissolves without any apparent, logical reason, when your material circumstances have not yet changed one iota, yet you feel completely at rest, it is neither emotional indifference nor psychological resignation. It is the literal divine presence beginning to reorganize your life from the inside out. Peace in the midst of difficulty is not a denial of reality. It is, on the contrary, the ultimate proof that your mind has aligned, if only for a moment, with the divine mind. And the divine mind already knows the perfect, harmonious solution to your problem. Many fail to grasp a fundamental spiritual truth: prayer changes things because it changes you. This is not simple spiritual poetry. It is a rigid law of the universe. When your interior consciousness is transformed from fear to peace, your external conditions must inevitably, by the law of correspondence, begin to rearrange themselves to reflect that new mental state. The second sign is often deeply surprising to those who experience it for the first time. It comes in the form of ideas, impulses, or nudges that arrive seemingly out of nowhere, suggesting concrete, specific actions. These are not the ordinary, frantic, fearful thoughts of the everyday human mind desperately trying to force a solution. Rather, they are clear flashes of direction that feel as though they come from a place far wiser and more serene than your own intellect. Days after his night of sudden peace, Anselmo woke with a persistent, quiet urge to contact a former client he had not spoken to in over a year. There was no logical, strategic reason to do so. However, the inner nudge was so strong and persistent that he sent a brief, friendly message, holding absolutely no desperate expectations. Fox calls this kind of impulse intuitive guidance. When your mind aligns with divine consciousness through sincere alignment, you begin to receive precise spiritual directions regarding the physical steps you must take. That very afternoon, the former client replied to a completely unexpected occurrence after so much silence. Not only was the client amiable, but he revealed that he was, at that exact moment, looking for a trustworthy accountant for a lucrative new project. The timing was too mathematically perfect to be considered mere coincidence. The divine mind operates in all directions simultaneously. While you are receiving the inner impulse to take action, the external circumstances and the minds of other people are being simultaneously prepared to receive that action. What once seemed impossible begins to align in ways that human logic simply cannot explain.